Hi guys, we're in Cambridge at WT's Sports Bar to talk to the world number 2 Neil Robertson. We're going to find out about his journey from Australia as a 16-year-old all the way to the UK to become one of the best players in the world. We're going to have a couple of frames and he's probably going to give me a lesson, but
not so sure about that.
Yeah, we'll have a couple of frames and see how it goes, shall we? Shall I break?
Yes, mate, of course.
Oh, this looks quite good for me.
It does, yes. You got the red below the black there, so you blocked the natural path for the shot to nothing.
I'll let you play this shot before I don't want to talk to you while you're on the shot. No.
Can't play the dumb shot. The red's there, so we'll.
You've got to attack.
We'll go for.
Oh, we've got them cold. Have you? How long have you been in this club? Has this been your club since you moved over here to Australia? Is this where you played?
No, I've been here since 2008.
Right.
We used to be at another club in Cambridge, myself and Joe, but we both moved here in 2008, and been here ever since. Yeah.
It's good. It's quiet. You get peace and quiet.
Yeah, during the day it's perfect. Yeah, you get a few people coming in during the day, but very respectful to your practice and everything.
Oh no, he's missed it.
But
big D-cell.
But during the night, it's like a great atmosphere in the club.
Yeah.
You know, you got the bar down there, and I really like this club because you get a little bit of atmosphere around.
Right.
You know, it's not completely kind of dead. And I don't mind that because growing up back home in Australia, my dad's club, I mean, it was a bit different because you had all the pinball machines going and Guns N' Roses, heavy metal. it was a slightly different atmosphere. But I do like that kind of just a bit of atmosphere.
If it's too quiet, it's a bit like it's almost it's
just
I remember
the
club,
style, especially if you're practicing on your own as well. You know, sometimes.
Yeah,
but
the club where I used to play, it was deadly quiet during the day, and I used to play 5-6 hours a day, and it really used to it's quite hard on the concentration. So many hours a day will you do now?
Just on my own, maximum 3 really. I think it's like coming in every day. It's like you're doing the lineups and all this sort of stuff. And with the amount of tournaments we have, we don't need to practice as much with other players as what we used to. But I remember, when we only had 6-7 tournaments a season, myself and Joe would have different players coming every single day.
Yeah.
To look for that match sharpness.
Right.
I've always liked doing solo practice as well. But now with the amount of tournaments we play, I think that probably everyone has reduced the amount of hours they're playing because you're so much sharper all the time.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to fine tune and improve things in your game.
In saying that though, you're probably one of the few, or even the only one that picks and chooses the events you play, and you don't play in everything, do you? Whereas everyone else seems to.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just like the stage I'm at in my career that it's important to play when I really want to play.
Right.
A few years ago I thought, you feel kind of obliged, I have to play in everything.
Right.
And then you can get into a run of results where you're just not really enjoying it. Maybe you see on the calendar, you see a few tournaments where, you got to travel here, early flight there, right. And you don't really produce the quality.
Are you like a golfer then, at the start of the season, you'll sort of map out your season, or?
As the things come out, you sort of, there's definitely a few tournaments that I know I will miss in chance of better preparation for something like the UK or the World Championships and stuff like that. But
it's quite a risky. I mean, the way the ranking system works, because if you play in fewer events and obviously don't do well in them, you're putting yourself under pressure, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
You're obviously confident that you can get the results that you need.
Yeah. No, I certainly am. But also, right, if you get a couple of good results at the start of the season, that then allows you to, better prepare, I guess you could say, in some of the others where. Because you don't really want to be chasing results to try and get into the Players' Champs, the Tour Champs and stuff like that. So you do want to make sure that your place is secure in those. This is an awful shot.
This is a tricky old shot, this.
Fragile.
Yeah, we've got them cold. We've got them cold. Can't believe I'm actually nervous.
Oh, I got into that.
Too much.
Too well.
Too much.
See, this is where Joe would be absolutely fuming in practice. He landed dead straight on the blue.
Yeah, you talking about Joe Perry. So would he be the the person you'd most regularly practice with?
The last few years, probably Ryan Thomason, who's a player from Australia.
Okay.
But yeah, like Joe, I think the thing with myself and Joe is because
Not going to get there.
he's always on the verge of the top 16 and stuff. So the last couple of seasons, whenever I've been available to practice, he's been qualifying.
Okay.
And sort of like vice versa.
Oh dear. It shows you how much snooker I've been playing.
All right, here we go. I've got a tricky opener.
So I always feel sharper when I was doing lots of solo.
Yeah, I love solo. Yeah, I much prefer solo than playing other people because, like, I even said to Joe just the other day, I said, like, say if one of us absolutely fly,
Yeah.
and then all you're doing is picking balls
Well, that's
out.
it, yeah. And then you go home at night and you've not had a good day, yeah.
You've wasted your sort of allocation of practice. That's the way I kind of see it. So I'd always try and, do solo. I think it's like, it's important to get that a little bit of match practice in if you feel as though you need to, maybe, I don't know, if you're like, maybe losing a lot of scrappy frames or something, you're just maybe playing the wrong shot on, when there's 1 or 2 reds left or something. But I always think that the most amount of value you get out of practice is certainly through solo.
Yeah. I was very militant in my solo practice where I would, if I missed, I would start again.
Yes.
I mean, it's the only way to do it, right?
I can't stand that.
I used to see players at venues doing lineups, and if they missed, they just kept carried on. I was like, "What are you doing? That's like, what's the point?"
But sometimes we only get half an hour, right?
That is true. That is true.
But no, I mean, I remember just seeing it here. Some of the younger guys would come over from Australia, and they'll be practicing on the middle table or something. I'll be watching them, and then they would miss, like you say, in the lineups or something, and they'll just like nudge the white where they want to be on the black and put the red in. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
You got to start again.
I know,
you got to
like
punish
pointless.
yourself. Yeah,
it's pointless.
I remember when I was younger in Australia playing at a club, and there was this exercise that someone gave me to do when I was living in Leicester, and it was quite hard. And I remember practicing. I was doing it for a couple of hours, and I kept messing up like the last vital cannon. It was an exercise where we had to make 4 kind of cannons on 3 packs of reds, and I kept sort of messing it up, or I kept twitching on the green, or just like I was desperate to get over because I wouldn't move on to the next exercise until I actually did that.
Yeah.
And I said to a friend of mine, I said, I'm not stopping until I do it. And I remember like I did it for about 4 hours. It's ridiculous. It's something you should be able to do within sort of like 15, 20 minutes max. Yeah. But the longer it went, the more hungry I was getting, and it was just like, it became so hard to even just like cue the shot properly.
Yeah. And you can almost replicate a pressure situation, can't
exactly.
you?
So when you're really hungry and you're trying it, it replicates when you're bang under it.
Yeah.
So if you can clear up and if you can complete those kind of exercises under those kind of conditions, for me it replicates what it's like. So when you're in a tournament position where mayyou don't feel great, or you're under a lot of pressure, in the back of your head that you can do it.
Exactly. The reason I like solo is because you're almost so many times practicing. Someone would come in, do you want a game? And I'd be desperate to have a game. But I thought, no, I'm going to stay solo. So when you get to a tournament, you're almost desperate to play someone.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not sort of like burnt out or something. You can't wait to play somebody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I've always loved doing solo practice. But but doing solo is a lot harder than playing people.
So
it requires a lot more kind of discipline.
Yeah.
Which is probably why a lot of maybe like younger players don't do it as much, because it's not as fun technically. Yes. But you look at the best young players coming through, like Bing Tao, and that loves doing solo practice and really dedicated. And you can sort of see the ones who are doing the practice properly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've been to like the academies in Sheffield, and quite often you see 2 players will be playing each other, and there'll be another player sort of like leaning on the table like this, chatting, and they'll be like, and it's like, I'm walking them, it makes me so angry. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, but it's not everyone can do it. That's why, obviously, so few can be at the top of the game. I mean, if I used to do like 10 lineups in a row or something, you miss on the 8th one, you start again. But I mean, you get in a match, you get first chance in the first frame, you just clear up automatically because that's what you've been doing every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I love doing those kind of. those kind of exercises as well, like the lineups, because everyone thinks, oh, why are you doing the lineups? So easy. Well, okay, try and clear it up 6 or 7 times in a row, or try and clear it up without touching a cushion.
Yeah, keep it simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I see some of these weird and wonderful patch routines where the reds are in these shapes, and I think I don't see the point of it. I mean, what I will say about it is, I do think that's why the scoring's a lot heavier, because I think generally players' cue ball control is better, and probably these routines are probably helping. But in terms of the basic being able to just score heavy under pressure, I say keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, but I mean, you also see a lot of them as well. They can make like an immaculate total clearance, but then they can't sustain it.
Yeah.
Because they're too used to just doing the hard exercises, but not being able to build up that concentration of not missing for a couple of hours, which I think is more important.
It's almost like in golf, it's like, they say players are like not scared to go low. It's like you get players who are you're not scared to like keep making century after century after century.
Yeah.
Because you make 1 or 2, and then the head just comes off. You love making centuries, right?
I do. You just in practice, mate.
You know, when I'm commentating, you're an 18, you miss. I love seeing how angry you are when you go back to your seat.
Yeah, I'm like that even in practice. Like, if I miss on 90 or something in practice, I'm absolutely sick. And like, I'll be playing maybe like Joe or someone, they're like, you haven't missed for 3 frames. You've just made 2 tons and you've missed on 90, and you're like, you're gutted. I'm like, yeah, I know. I love making 3 centuries in a row as well.
I was exactly the same. Because like I used to play this guy Billy Snadden, and and used to obviously
Chris Shade. Was Chris Shade one of them? Yeah.
Chris Shade. And I used to obviously make a lot of centuries, and like you'd dominate for 5 or 6 frames, win them all in one visit, and then you'd miss on 30 or 40 and you'd be absolutely fuming yourself and say, hey, well, you give me a shot. I mean, it's like. So how many years have you been over here now in this country?
I moved to Cambridge in 2003.
In the UK, when did you first come over here?
I first came when I was 16. I was far too young to turn pro.
On your own, right?
Yeah, I was on my own. When I was 16,
what courage that takes to do that to the other side of the world. And you had nothing
horrendous.
as well, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, what happened was that the World Snooker Tour, they opened up the tour from something like 96 players to 190 or something. And so then they created all these spots from overseas.
Right.
So what happened was, back home in Australia, I'd never been past the quarterfinals of any kind of Australian tournaments.
Right.
And then the tournament was held at my club on these really big pockets, and the semi-finalists got a tour card. So it was like completely out of nothing. And I knew the tables so well. I beat Robbie Folvari in the quarterfinals.
Wow.
But he was sick because he was playing really good safety shots. I was just going for these reds, which I should never go for.
Well, he wasn't the most exciting player in the world, was he, to be fair? I remember Robbie Folvari very well.
Yeah, but I beat Robbie, and then all of a sudden it meant that I was turning pro, and I was just like, I was nowhere near good enough, you know. I'd only just kind of like sort of left school, and I remember like, I played Mehmet Husney on my first match and I lost 5-0. And the pockets were like, they were just so tight compared to what I was used to.
Yeah.
Like anything below the black spot, I was so scared to even play it. And also the cloth was like, I'd never played on a cloth like that. I think like my first break off, I went in off because I just, adjusting to the side.
Sorry to interrupt you, that's what I find now when I'm playing events now, is getting used to the cloth.
Yeah, the cloth,
when you get to, I mean, you can practice on brand new cloths all you like, but you went to a tournament, it's completely different.
Yeah, it's completely different. Even when I came to Cambridge, it took me about 2 years to be comfortable with cutting in a black like this.
Right.
With like a touch of side or something.
Okay.
Because I'd always be adjusting, I'd always be hitting it too thick or over-cutting it by a mile.
Because big pockets, you'd be able to aim thick, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and the nap would always would take it in, and you know, so it's just like a lot of adjustment for, but effectively on these club tables to then try and you know be good on a pro table.
And you fell off the tour, didn't you? Did you come off the tour now?
Yeah. When I was 16, I did no good. I only won a couple of matches. I won the Oceania Championships when I was 18, and I was much improved. I knew what to expect a lot more, and I won 10 matches that season, so I did all right. Like I think it was 160 on the tour or something then. But I did quite well. You know, I won a few matches in the World Championships. Beat Mark Fenton from 9-6 down. to win 10-9, which actually knocked him off the tour. So and I ended up losing 10-8 to Ian McCulloch. So I'd started to kind of build a bit of a reputation for someone who had potential to do well. And then,
what age were you when you played your first TV match?
I was 21 against Jimmy White at the Masters.
Right.
Yeah, and that was when Jimmy, he actually had a brilliant season that season. It was the year he won the Scottish. We beat Paul Hunter in the final.
Was that the Wembley Conference
Centre? Yeah,
the
the Conference Centre. Yeah. So that was the only time I got to play there. But I was so happy that I got to kind of achieve that, you know. And then I remember not only my first venue, my first televised match. It's at the Masters, and you're playing Jimmy White.
You couldn't have a much bigger first match.
Unbelievable.
TV.
But I remember, like the Conference Centre, you know, you're waiting to come up
the stairs,
and like I didn't know what to.
You're playing Jimmy White.
You know, I'm coming up, and my reception, like it was amazing. I was like, oh wow. But then all of a sudden, like with Jimmy, when he came up, it was like
2,500 people.
I don't know. I just wanted to like disappear. It was just like the scariest sort of atmosphere and that. Oh, mate,
I've played Jimmy Cup 2 or 3 times there. It's quite intimidating.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Shall we set them up? This frame's dead. I think it's safe to say you won the first frame.
Well, this could be behind the yellow.
But if I was in the commentary, I would say
behind the yellow.
That's a bad break off. Look at the black. Oh, I'll bring the black into play.
I hate it when that happens, actually.
Well, you just know it's going to be a scrappy frame, don't you? Try to find the middle of the white.
Oh, what a shot!
Please tell me you got that one.
Great shot.
If I do nothing else today, that's... Yeah, notice how the questions dried up when I'm in, see?
So in practice, when you knocked in that first red, are you thinking 147?
No, I'm not like Willie Thorne.
No?
Everyone's a 147. No, to be fair, if I got a chance, I would do it. But I wasn't really fussy about them because I think it's one of the things. Once you've done it once, especially in practice, match is different. But in practice, you've done it once. I wouldn't really. It's weird. I wouldn't take a risk to make a maximum.
I always find one of the most amazing stats was that John Higgins won the world title before he even made a 147 in practice. I found that absolutely incredible.
I mean, you've obviously made hundreds on this table, have you?
Yeah, I made a lot, yeah.
I mean, I think I probably averaged, you probably more now, I think 1 a week, something like that.
Yeah, it depends if you're, it depends if you're practicing with someone and stuff like that, every day, yeah. I think like Stuart Bingham is meant to be amazing at him. He knocks in, he does silly things though. He's on 32 and he's like gaining out a balk or something sometimes.
Oh really?
Yeah. But yeah, Stuart, he makes a lot. He's actually made a lot in tournament as well. I think he's 4th behind you, Higgins, and Ronnie. I think Stuart, yeah.
I almost took my eye off the black. That's terrible.
And Evan, what's your highest break? You made, I think you've the same as me, 149?
149, yeah.
Yeah, same as me. On this table, I made 149. I was so nervous clearing up because, I mean, I do a lot of solo practice anyway, so I don't really play that many people. But it's just something you want to do is to actually make a break higher than a 147.
My one, I actually had a chance to play for the black, but it was a difficult position, and I twitched. I played for an easy pink.
I did that too.
For the black because I thought I definitely wanted to do, but it would have been nice to get the 150.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
I thought I'm just going to make sure. I was playing actually Alfie Burden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was one of them days where I just every time I went to the table, I just knocked on the century. I think he was like. So let me ask you, this like elephant in the room. What's happened at the Crucible with you? I mean, the last 3 or 4 years, you've gone in as favourite.
I played well there.
I think since you've won it, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been to the one table situation once since you won it. I mean, that to me is incredible.
Yeah, my record there started off really well. Like 2009, I got to the. My debut was against you.
Yes,
in 2005.
that's right, yeah.
That was you were world number 1. So.
Do you know, in the front row of the press box, Suede, the pop group Suede came in to watch that match.
Oh really?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm a big massive fan, and like they walked in, and I was like, we were sat next to each other, and I was like, they just walked in between a frame, and I was like,
oh yeah. That happened with me where I was playing Foo there one year, and Roy Keane was there.
All right.
I'm thinking like, oh my
It's
God.
quite weird when you see someone.
I'm like, I can't miss in the ballsy. He's going to think I'm terrible. And it actually was quite off-putting. I think didn't Darren Morgan ask Prince Naseem
Hamid, when I was playing him, because he was like a fan of mine. Who when I started going downhill, he ditched me for O'Sullivan. He's like a fair weather supporter, but yeah, he came to watch me and he had this bright silver puffer jacket on. And Darren Morgan, I mean, it was quite odd. He stood out, and Darren Morgan, he said, "Can you get him out?" It was brilliant. But yeah, sorry, going back to the Crucible. So what?
I mean, yeah, I
because I mean, let's.
I do actually know what it is, but it's something that I have to execute properly.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with mental or anything like that.
Right.
It's just that I have sessions there. For one thing, in the early rounds, it's not easy if you're playing someone best out of 90 and best out of 25, where you're just starting from start to finish in 2 sessions, the match is over.
Yeah.
You know, you can play a best out of 25 over 3 days.
Yes.
So it's not like you're really playing a best out of 25, where you get the momentum, then you can just overpower them. Every session matters, every kind of frame matters, especially now. I think now that, you look at like my match with Jack Lazowski last season, like it was a great match. Jack played absolutely out of his skin.
I agree.
And he was so disciplined as well, which was really surprising. And then against Higgins, he made more mistakes in the first session than he did in our entire match. So it's like, that was the Jack I was expecting. Just the mad shots and everything.
Everyone in the world, even probably Jack, thought that he was made for you. And I thought, well, this is just going to be.
Yeah, he's
going to give you so many chances. You're going to.
And that's how it's always been whenever we play each other. But he had Ebden in his corner. He was so disciplined. He was turning down shots. In certain situations where I'd be trapping him, he was just like playing a dumb shot. I'm like, what the hell? Like, you've never played a dumb shot in your life.
Yeah.
But there was like a couple of sessions in that match where the first one was 4-4, should never have been 4-4, I should have won a 6-2.
Right.
I was too aggressive in certain moments where I should have kept it tighter. Not negative, but just make it as hard as possible for him. Because I think at the Crucible, it's different when you play someone in a final where you can kind of tempt them into things and then they make a couple of mistakes and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Then you just completely blitz them in the final.
Yeah.
At the Crucible, everyone tries till the end, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot harder to
dominate someone.
Yeah, like that, right? And so I really sort of watched Ronnie a lot this World Championships. And the amount of easy chances he was just creating for himself because his safety was so good. Yeah. So disciplined, not giving.
Well, he's almost become like a percentage player.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be.
When he gets in, you're like,
Yeah.
So I think that's a big area which I'm focusing on this season is just to, I always try and like to play the aggressive shot even on the last red, but just try and be a bit smarter the way I go about it. I think just don't give frames away because going into that last session with Jack, I was 9-7 down. I was like, okay, I'm going to make this a lot harder for him now. Yeah. I'm not going to go for those 7 out of 10 long ones where if I miss, I'm leaving him in. Right. I'm going to like maybe play a bit more of a shot to nothing or just make it a bit harder for him. Right. And it completely turned the match around, where I got to 12-11 up from 10-7 down. Yeah. But he played great. I was a bit unlucky at 12-11. I was a couple of inches away from winning the match.
So it's not. People,
but it's a safety element.
You don't feel right with the 2 tables because you have to walk it.
I never liked that. That is true. But
because you walk the way you
but
walk into a shot.
What happened? Like, because I've got this natural railing here anyway, which kind of replicates the similar kind of distance. Right. And so what I did was I got like all the bar stools and everything. I made like a line on that side because one thing that did used to annoy me playing at Crucible, I'd step back and I'd constantly hit the board, and it would just annoy me, like playing get down, play, oh bloody, and then you're sort of like conscious of it, But I think it's more kind of like an excuse, really. Like it's something that everyone has to do. Like Mark Williams is really tall, so it's something you have to deal with. But I think my record there was really good. Like in 2009, I got to semis and I won it in 2010.
Since you should have won it at least. I think 3 times, at least.
Yeah, I've talked to some players. Like, I've talked to Ronnie about it. I've been given a couple of tools now, which I think will be helpful. Yeah. And don't forget as well, like a few times as well, I've lost what I believed was the tournament-defining match, where I lost to Ronnie, where I lost to Ronnie one year in the quarters, where I felt the winner of us was going to win it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was 13-10. It was a really good game. I lost
the
to Higgins
well,
one.
yeah.
That was the tough match. Selby. So
yeah.
But you have to beat everyone.
I mean, of
So
course. Listen, at the end of the day, snooker's. If you're in your chair, you can't win the match from your chair. So at the end of the day, you can't plan anything. But yeah, it's.
That is the key, though. It's not the balls I'm missing, because quite a few years I've lost. I'm thinking I've just gone out of this tournament again, making 10 centuries in the tournament, and I haven't even got to the semi-final stages. Do you know what I mean? So
you don't split it up in a session. I'm just going to win each session. Do you think they'll think long term on it in a match? Yeah,
sometimes, which has caught me out off guard, is think, well, there's no way he can beat me over 25.
Well, that's how I lost to Ebden.
Yeah, same kind of thing. All of a sudden they start well, and if you lose a session 6-2, then all of a sudden you have to play two great sessions.
Chasing's hard.
You can't guarantee that, and that's what I found would keep happening, is that I'd lose a session 5-3 that gives the other guy confidence, or I'd lose one 6-2. You lose a session 6-2, that is so hard. I remember beating Judd in the quarters in 2014 when I lost the first session 6-2. I remember how hard that was to just even get back into the match, And you just can't afford that.
No. It's amazing how even missing just one or two shots, and they seem to matter even more in a long match than a short match.
Yeah, it's
best
strange.
of seven, say, you can't afford to miss. but you don't, I don't know, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you do in terms of the world? Are you all right with the days in between matches, the long periods of time?
I don't mind that. Yeah, I don't mind that. I think that, what the issue was, I think, with my record at the World Championships, it was the 5 years from 14 to 19, say, and not the last couple of years. Last couple of years I played really well.
Yeah.
And I made some slight errors in the matches. That's not so bad, but it's the fact that obviously, I can't hide away from it. That people always keep going back to, well, he hasn't been in the last table.
Yeah.
So.
But after, if I was the form that you've taken in the last 2 or 3, if that was me, when you finish, you think, oh, that's a missed opportunity. That is.
Yeah, and it has been like that.
Yeah.
No, it has. I think that I think last year was kind of disappointing, because it would have been great to play John in the quarters, and then if I could beat John, played Ronnie in the semis. That's always something I want to do, is to play him in the one table set up there.
Yeah.
And especially how I'd beaten Ronnie 3 times in a row. Going into the World Championships full of confidence, and he's someone I love playing, because every frame is nice.
Your matches are some of the best to watch.
Our tour championship match was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's virtually no scrappy frames.
I remember him the way he started. I remember the way he started in that match was just bang, 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 But I'm in a position now with the way I play, and I'm confident as well. I think when my positional play wasn't as good as what it has become, I probably would have struggled in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're cold, you have to control the white early. Right. Well, don't you? You can't rely on some recovery pots or anything like that. It was a brilliant match. So playing Ronnie or someone like that in the world, it wouldn't faze me. I'd really enjoy it. It's just, beating the it's beating the other players really, and you just got to make it hard.
Yeah.
Not be negative, but I can't just afford to. I can't afford to give frames away, basically.
Can't afford to give any encouragement. Do you still do the? You stopped to the computer game stuff, didn't you? Because you used to do that.
There's certain games.
You still do it?
There's certain games. No,
I do it for 12, 13 hours in a spin or something. Would that be when you were in China or stuff, when you had lots of time?
I remember in Hong Kong a few weeks ago, because the restrictions were quite.
You couldn't leave the hotel.
Yeah, so it was. I actually didn't mind. I quite liked Hong Kong. I was just chilling out with my games and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we had to kind of stay in the room and that. So I don't mind that. It's just there's certain video games I can't play, which are the ones that are quite competitive, like FIFA and stuff.
Right.
Where you're playing against another person.
Right.
That would do my nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If I lose, if I lose online to some kind of 12-year-old kid or something, and it's just You know, the games I play now are kind of like more like.
He's missed one.
If I got away with it.
Yeah.
More like kind of just like fantasy-based games, like your Game of Thrones kind of theme stuff, you know.
Oh, look at this.
Oh! You're 20 behind. Oh, I think that's actually it's one of the hardest shots in the game. That.
Well, it's
the blue with.
Oh, look at! I mean, that's just a joke.
It's a bit unlucky. Everyone avoids playing it that way, don't they?
I'd much prefer that way than the other way. Oh, that's alone with the side. Please edit that one out.
That wasn't that easy. Do
you miss the tournaments in China?
Do
you like travelling?
Yeah, I don't mind the travelling. Yeah, I don't enjoy like the nervous waiting for your bags to come out because like there's always players who are playing their match out there with like borrowed clothes off whoever, or
really?
Maybe someone's queue hasn't turned up. Well, with that many players travelling, there's always going to be something goes wrong. So I guess
I used to love the travelling. I used to when players used to say, "Oh, can't believe we're going to Thailand or we're going to China." I say, "Oh, do you want to play every tournament in the UK?"
Yeah, no, it's true. I don't mind the travelling actually. That's usually when I on the plane, like I'll read like a lot of books and stuff like that. So I think that travelling, it's always like a good opportunity to kind of, you know, you don't have the things that you have at home.
How much are you allowing here? You're obviously going to play this with lots of left-hand side.
Yeah.
Are you allowing a lot in the aim?
I guess so. Kind of. I'm aiming pretty fullish.
Yeah. Watch the side. How long's this cloth been on?
It's actually just new, so it's like it's quite skiddy, isn't it?
Yeah, because I've seen the crease down the middle. That's lovely. So,
but I cleaned the balls this morning. I think it's like put something on the balls.
But no, only professionals playing this. No one else gets to play.
No, I'm the only one who plays on this table. Yeah.
Your son plays snooker?
No, he doesn't. No,
he's football, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's quite good at pool and stuff. Like naturally, he actually has quite a nice sort of smooth cue action already.
Right.
I think. Yeah, he doesn't like. He's not one of these kids who just get down and just like smash the ball. Like he tries to do everything properly.
A bit of control.
But the thing is, like, no one around his age kind of plays.
Well, that's the thing.
When I grew up, I had my brother to play with and stuff, or a lot of other juniors my age. You know, and I think that's probably one of the big things in this country is getting a lot more juniors kind of interested in playing.
Yeah, I mean, when I played, there was like you had the Scottish under-16s, the British under-16s. You had like Star of the Future at Pontins, under six. There's nothing now anymore.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, a lot less clubs as well.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Oh, there was in the 80s, 90s. There was a snooker club in every corner, wasn't there?
Like pro-ams as well. You know, I remember Joe talking about it'd be like 200 people in a club, like you know, playing these pro-ams.
The amateur game was great.
I think Willie Thorne's in Leicester, right? I think.
Well, I don't think I can stand on the third picking balls out against our third frame, so I think we'll call it a day with snooker. But well played, and thanks.
Cheers,
for
Stephen.
I've got sore fingers picking out the balls. Amazing there from Neil Robertson. If you liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.